And that will be the pick, indeed. Shyvana for Eldritch on 5 Freaks. A champion that does not have much of a ganking presence before 6 at all. But it is a champion that becomes really, really scary with items. For melee supports in general, it feels like the ability to adapt with builds and runes based on the situation is pretty limited. Alright, GGL, they have the Blitzcrank. Will we see an invade of some kind? Looks like the answer is yes. They're going to move as 5 all the way down top lane. While 5 Freaks are stacking on the opposite side of the map, these teams will not meet each other, most likely. And we'll see if that maybe forces GGL to do something different. Will they just keep going, or will they just put down the vision and recall? I mean, there is a bit of an element of uncertainty when you're invading and you don't see anyone. You're like, are they invading as well? Where are they exactly? Like, should we be afraid of some kind of response from the enemy team? 5 Freaks are now moving towards blue side. So, sorry, towards their red buff. They will spot some members recalling. GGL put down 2 wards in 5 Freaks' topside jungle. So they should have very, very good information when it comes to who's starting where. But it does mean the bot lane of GGL will just end up not missing XP necessarily, but they will probably lose out on the push. Which for a Caitlyn lane, it feels like it's a pretty big deal. We'll have to see how the lane progresses there. Johnny G, once again, he's going to be looking for those aggressive trades. It's exactly what he was doing last time on the LeBlanc. This time he's running Electrocute instead of First Strike. So that does give him that extra power, that guaranteed power in trades, instead of having to rely on having the first move on the trade, which will not be as easy to do against Wei. But yeah, the cooldown on Electrocute was reduced, so it just means LeBlanc has that much more pressure inside of these matchups. Every time Wei comes in to trade, he just gets bopped by all this damage. QW, auto, all of it lands, and it forces Tyler to use his potions already. Electrocute once again. That's 2 potions down already. The cooldown on this rune going down really feels like it means a great deal, especially for LeBlanc. The way the trade patterns play out, we're seeing Johnny G just take full advantage. Not much else happening elsewhere. Gwen managed to get a crash, looks like. GGL doing just fine bot lane. Not exactly getting anything done with the Blitzcrank hooks just yet, but the Blitzcrank hook, the threat would always be there, no matter what time it is. No matter what minute it is on the game timer, Blitzcrank will always be a problem. And the chains land from Johnny G, just one more auto is needed, and that is a solo kill. Free level 6 for Johnny G, just making it look very easy. Bonzi now, well, he will have to collect this wave, but it looks like GGL wants to fight this 2v2, and the knockup will hit on both members. And that's just No2 going down. Bonzi trying to fight back against the Shyvana. Eldritch flashing in. He's gonna get a kill in response, but it's still a 2-for-1 for GGL. They will be very happy about what happened here, I have to imagine. It's a little bit awkward for Fonzie that he didn't get all of that wave. Find it interesting that No2 decided not to teleport here, but I guess given how the wave's moving, maybe it's fine. You'll just have to accept that he's behind an XP for a little while. Johnny G continues to look for these aggressive movements with the distortion. And given how much just given how good Zac can be at ganking, it just means that EGL has that extra threat on mid lane. Every time Tyler is pushed up like this, he has to be very scared of the potential gank. He's doing fine for himself, but it does mean that he is suffering quite a bit against this LeBlanc and having to give up some of that CS. Good news for Five Freaks, they got the first dragon of the game. Shyvana obviously much better at taking those dragons early compared to a Zac. So I imagine that just had to be a thing that Five Freaks were talking about before this game started. Fonzie on the Gwen seems like he's winning out quite yeah, he's winning out quite a lot on these on these early trades. Every time a Q is charged up, just dashes in, and it's pretty hard for No2 to respond with the same amount of damage. Yeah, that charged Q, all the true damage, plus the extra auto. Gwen's early trading is pretty good, but now No2 and Eldritch just want to take advantage of the Gwen being pushed up like this. Oh, but Fonzie almost takes down Shyvana as well. Eldritch actually falling dangerously low, but they just about managed to kill him there. Now, every kill that Eldritch gets is going to be a big boon for Five Freaks. They want this Shyvana to be strong. But even though Camille is in not exactly a spot you want to be in as a top laner, I feel like this team has put a lot of eggs in the jungle basket. So every kill that Eldritch gets, they won't mind one bit if it means Camille dies as a result. They just have to make sure they can stem the bleeding. They are doing quite well bot lane as well, so it's mostly just top and mid that they have to worry about. It's gonna take a while before Camille can actually trade on even terms versus Gwen. It's really a difficult situation. Electrocute procs once again from Johnny G. Tyler is rooted. The ultimate comes out from the way. Here comes Eldritch. Johnny G might finally go down, but he still has his flash though. That being said, Eldritch showing up in that lane at the right time. Keeping the CS high while also helping his laners at the same time. Doing a good job right here. He might even be able to snatch these raptors on the backside. He won't try to go for any kind of steal on the red buff. And what does Five Freaks want to do about this bot lane? Thresh and Shyvana are coming in, but in the meantime, Fonzie wants a solo kill. The Camille shield means it's just a trade 1-for-1, but now Five Freaks going down bot lane and finding another pick. Blitzcrank goes down for the first time this game. Eldritch is now 3 kills on the board for him. And surely he has enough gold for Spear of Shojin at this point. He has to feel pretty good about how this game is going. Oh, Johnny G is having a field day in mid. Despite what happened earlier with the gank, he is not phased. Not one bit. And right now it is very, very hard for 5 Freaks to actually find a window where they have mid priority. Tyler has to be just really, really careful about every move that he makes. The next scrub's coming up pretty soon. Will we see GGL playing for that as well? We have Toxic Coffee making his way towards top lane. Oh, Johnny G using both of his distortions to get that trade-off. Tyler falling really, really low on health. He's forced all the way down to his tier 2 turret down mid lane. It's just... it's just a really, really tough lane to play out right now. Looks like it will just be a trade of Dragon for Grubs for 5 Freaks. And I feel like they don't mind that whatsoever. But Chemtech Drake is the second dragon that falls, so that means Ocean Soul will be the selected soul for this game. Oh man, Johnny G definitely pushing up a little bit too hard this time. The distortion did not come off cooldown fast enough, and this now means GGL will probably have to scram away from Grubs. They want to force this fight anyway, but I don't know if that's the right idea when Eldritch still has Dragon Form up. They continue to put down damage on on Eldritch, but it doesn't matter. He already basically took down 2 people almost completely on his own, and 5 Freaks just smashed this skirmish on Grubs. They deny GGL the 6 Grub start. They take at least 1 for themselves. But most importantly, Shyvana is getting accelerated more and more. 12 minutes into this game, already transitioning towards the second item. With Spear of Shojin and Faded Ashes, Shyvana will just be able to devour all of her jungle in one rotation extremely quickly. And that gives her time to maybe even take camps on the enemy side of the map, or just turn into a dragon and breathe fire on the enemy, whoever it is. Like Eldritch, I feel like he'll be just fine poking, showing up in a lane, pressing R, and then pressing E a bunch of times, and just then it's peace out and back to clearing. But right now it's a setup on Dragon, and GGL, they have found an early pick onto Tyler, and that could make things problematic. But Eldritch, his Dragon form is ready. Is he going to go in here? He goes in onto Toxic Coffee. They want to get this jungler out of the picture. The hook will miss onto Johnny G. Will 5 Freaks be able to push out GGL completely? There's no dragon to play for right now. But that doesn't mean 5 Freaks don't want to be active on the map. Although, they want to be playing around this Shyvana. Just making aggressive moves on the map whenever Eldritch has the dragon form available. Otherwise, it's probably just going to be playing back until that happens. Like, outside of a Shyvana, 5 Freaks really should not be contesting. Not going for any fights against their direct lane opponents. So much of this is about Eldritch, and right now, 5 Freaks are playing towards that win condition, but it doesn't mean that GGL are not looking for opportunities of their own. Electrocute will proc on Johnny G. Just one more auto attack was needed for Tyler to fall, but it's Johnny G who has to flash. That QW would have landed. I don't know if it was enough damage to kill, but I guess Johnny G wasn't really sure just how much damage Hui would do with these items. So he preferred to just be play it safe rather than risk looking at a gray screen and look silly. Oh, Fonzie. He wants to stop No2 from pushing this wave in, and he does exactly that. Camille has, like, no chance in this 1v1 right now. Even though No2 is slowing... No2 had this big slow push going, Fonzie just challenged him as the wave was about to crash, and he just killed him on the spot. That's what happens when one of the top laners gets far ahead enough in a matchup like this. Does not look pretty for the other side. Now GGL have this setup where they have Caitlyn pushing the waves down mid. LeBlanc is bot lane. Fonzie's TP is about to come up. Will 5 Freaks wait for that to happen? Eldritch almost got grabbed by Blitzcrank. Not sure if GGL had enough damage to burst there. 5 Freaks still want to get this dragon, but they are in a little bit of a dangerous situation. GGL could just choose to engage. They have to be kiting a little bit. Oh, the Blitzcrank hook from Mercutio actually lands. And that is a very important pick onto Tyler. That should mean GGL get the 3rd dragon. And they also managed to protect the turret on the top side of the map, so everything just happened nicely for the team. Meanwhile, autoplay had to flash, otherwise he would have just fallen to the LeBlanc on the spot. Johnny G is a big problem for 5 Freaks right now. Yeah, we're just looking at this top lane matchup, but it feels like still the Gwen will be stronger for the foreseeable future. Don't see this changing anytime soon. Now Eldritch wants to punish Fonzie for continuing to push in these waves, and that might just be what happens. Fonzie will not be trapped in Hextech Ultimatum. Actually, that was not even necessary. Eldritch just picks that one up. It was a very easy kill. GGL did not cover their top laner as he was pushing in wave after wave. Now Toxic Coffee going in for an engage of his own. The Caitlyn ult will land! Actually, Eldritch was not able to block that one. It's a 1-for-1 trade. I feel like the Zac displacement just barely enabled Caitlyn to get the kill on Ace in the hole. Oof. Yeah. It just doesn't get better now, does it? In the side lane, it's just GGL winning on both sides of the map, really. Even though Fonzie got that kill, it does force Eldritch to respond to him most of the time. Healthier Boot going for the flash, the hook will land, but Toxic Coffee is there with a great counter engage. It's autoplay firing off with the curtain call though. They won't be able to get even one kill. Mercutio actually gets Boot on the backside of that engagement. And it does feel like the front line that GGL have allows them to play much more aggressively when they're trying to push for these turrets. Eldritch goes back in. He kills Blitzcrank with a Flame Breath. Can he get another? He tries to flash away from Caitlyn's damage, but it's not going to happen. Toxic Coffee takes the credit. Eldritch, try as he might, GGL are still pushing forward, unafraid of the 5 Freaks jungler. They might be able to even look for this inner turret on the next push. But I guess Caitlyn is still in base. Now the setup for this dragon and the potential ensuing fight could be crucial given that Baron is already up. What does 5 Freaks want to do with this? Why is down bot lane, clearing out that wave. Jhin is still positioned mid. It does feel like 5 Freaks will want to fight. Note 2 has his teleport, but what can he do in the fight? There aren't many flank wards that he can just choose to TP on. Like, he could go and try and trap Oswald, but right now feels risky for 5 Freaks to even approach. They got that vision around all the river brushes mostly cleared out. Now we're trying to push in mid, but autoplay has to be careful. He has to walk all the way away from the lane. GGL actually moving towards top. We have like 3 members moving down top lane river, while Toxic Coffee will just start the dragon by himself. So this is actually GGL playing on multiple fronts and doing so successfully. Oh man. That is so much damage. Ludens plus Shadow Flame. Wei cannot handle this damage from the LeBlanc. He has to clear the waves from like half a screen away, it feels like. Bonzi once again in a 1v2 situation, but he will not be able to he won't be able to get the kill. So how much can 5 Freaks get now that the GGL top laner is down? I feel like they should be continuing to push down top lane and at least look for one turret in response to what's happening on the other side. For now, it looks like LeBlanc will not be able to get the turret just yet. So 5 Freaks with a minimal win right here. Still holding strong. Like, how close is Shyvana when it comes to getting that Rabadons? That's the most important question. If he gets it on this recall, we're not quite there yet. We're getting pretty close. Both rods already in the inventory. We just need one more base to get to Rabadons. And once that happens, like, that is Shyvana just able to potentially decide the fight on her own. If she gets enough time to just spam Flame Breaths on the backline. That's easier said than done. I mean, Shyvana, she does have a lot of damage, but she's also mighty squishy at the same time. So one misstep could end in a tragedy for 5 Freaks. It's not really an easy team composition to play, honestly. Given what's happening on the map right now, they have to be very careful when they move around the map like this. Zac being able to engage from a long distance. You have Blitzcrank. You have LeBlanc with multiple dashes. Being able to create picks, it's just really difficult. But if Five Freaks can hold this stalemate that is happening right now for an extended period of time, I feel like they should be pretty happy with that. Oh, Johnny G, that should be a solo kill, although the fear will dissuade him there. Spiraling Despair will actually whiff. Is Johnny G in trouble? Well, Eldritch and No2 are still on the other side of the map. Oh, GGL want to look for the fight, but that's Gwen's entire ultimate already gone. Does that mean Five Freaks? Do they want to look for a fight right here? Dragon form from Eldritch, he goes in into 3 members of the enemy team. Then he flashes out, but that buys a lot of time for Five Freaks, the rest of their team, to jump in and potentially continue to fight. Eldritch now going on to Johnny G. They will be able to trap LeBlanc potentially. He flashes away, but now Oswald is the next one on the Five Freaks list of potential threats to take down, and Caitlyn will actually die. So that's 1 for 1, but that is still GGL having to lick their wounds. Gwen having to recall, LeBlanc having to recall. This is just a window for Five Freaks to take the Baron, and they will do exactly that. Toxic Coffee not even looking for a steal. Is this the start of a turnaround for Five Freaks? As we mentioned, this is a game that they need to win if they want to even think about playoffs. Like, realistically, they need to start picking up wins, and this is the one team that they have to beat. When you consider, like, direct tiebreaker situations, Five Freaks need at least this win just to be able to contend for playoffs later. And now with Baron, what can they do? They have river control, which is pretty important for this composition, but now they just have to be careful not to get picked by this Blitzcrank or by this Zac. BGL are not ready to respond to this. Toxic Coffee will go for the steal, but he will not be able to smite the dragon in time. It's Healthier Boot who actually takes that one, funnily enough. Toxic Coffee will not be able to escape. That's an extra kill on the board for Five Freaks. Eventually. Autoplay gets his first, and now Baron buff still on for Five Freaks. They want to continue go. Oh my god, the damage between Johnny G and Eldritch. Both of them so low. Oswald ulting for Shyvana, but it's not going to result in a kill. Johnny G limping to base, but he's not going to get away. He tries to fire off his whole combo before he dies, but he will not be able to escape to his base. Five Freaks find him as well. These are good picks for Five Freaks, but it has to be said that GGL managed to withstand most of the Baron push here. It's not like Five Freaks were able to push up on any of these lanes. Now they're finally coming up, trying to hit this mid tower. Does feel like GGL have to concede at least this tower, but it's just one turret at the end of the day. Now Eldritch's dragon form is up, but how long do they want to keep this going? Instead, they will choose to rotate with their whole team down towards the tier 1 bottom and just take all the boxes. Take all the tier 1 turrets one after another, the easiest objectives to take. Dragon form from Eldritch. He scares off the LeBlanc. Every flame breath is so much damage, even the Gwen is really feeling that one. That is another turret on the board for 5 Freaks. The gold lead for GGL is starting to melt. It's not even a 2,000 gold lead at this point. You could basically say the teams are fighting on mostly even ground. And it feels like GGL, they are struggling to show the initiative that usually is on full display from this team. Really eager to start fights, but right now we're not seeing much of that. Instead, it's 5 Freaks dominating on the map. And they're about to get another pick, as Fonzie was once again eager to get the 1v1, but instead he's going to meet the entire team of 5 Freaks, while GGEL are not exactly prepared to respond on the other side of the map. Johnny G is down bot lane. Can he get this tower before 5 Freaks can get their recalls off? That's the question. No 2 will be able to respond to that. So it's just another kill that GGL give up for free. Now it's GGL rotating towards bottom lane. Oh, but Mukuskyo in big trouble. Curtain call comes down. Surely this is the kill to start off this dragon standoff between the two teams. Johnny G might just get one response, but the Camille is actually quite tanky. LeBlanc not able to chew through that health bar. And 5 Freaks now with so much mid control. This is absolutely crucial when it comes to the next dragon. And this would be Ocean Soul for them. Now they're taking their recalls though, 30 seconds before the dragon spawns. But I don't think GGL saw them recall. So they are not exactly all the way there when it comes to reclaiming the river. Now they're like meekly trying to move back in, but they haven't cleared most of that vision out yet. 5 Freaks, if they get there in time, they should be able to respond. Well, now GGL actually made their way towards the river. It's going to be dangerous now for 5 Freaks. Shyvana walks, just flies straight into the backline. She gets bursted down, however, and that could be important for GGL. It's 1-for-1 right now. Autoplay gets the kill on the Gwen. That's Fonzie down. Another pretty important DPS source for GGL. It's 80 carry versus 80 carry right now. Johnny G not really being able to handle the Jhin. He's still fighting though. 3 members of GGL alive. Camille really low. Autoplay about 60%. Still 60% health. Still there, but 5 Freaks, can they even... No, they can't even walk into the river. So GGL, because they managed to kill the Shyvana early into the fight, they found the pick that they were looking for. That is what helps them prolong this game. And the flash from Johnny G, firing off his full combo, but autoplay with the dancing grenade and the last auto attack. That is a guaranteed crit. He wins out on the fight. Do you think that was the... I don't know. That Hex Drinker, that could have been what decided it at the end of the day. And Johnny G dying on this important timer, it once again means a Baron for GGL. They're not even ready to respond to this. Just caught completely unawares. And now maybe this is it. Maybe this is 5 Freaks finally being able to put this game to bed with a second Baron. It's all 5 members down top lane. They don't exactly have the mid lane wave in the best of spots. But they do have Shyvana, who's just willing to jump in and deal all kinds of damage to the Gwen. Fonzie all the way down to half. Tyler and Jin putting out all the damage onto the front line from a range where GGL cannot respond, and the Flame Breath forces out Zhonya's Hourglass. Fonzie able to flash away, but instead it's Mikuskill that will have to sacrifice himself for his top laner, and 5 Freaks still going strong. Johnny G has to distort away. Oswald gets caught by Boo's hook. Now it's only Gwen and Blanc left alive. 5 Freaks want to continue this push. They want to get the win. But can they keep this going? Johnny G actually died to the Shyvana damage. Leandri's Anguish finishes that one off. One of the Nexus turrets falls down. It won't be the final push, but 5 Freaks are so close. I mean, now, given the state of the map, it shouldn't be that hard for them to just keep doing what they were doing. Jin has finished Maw of Malmortius. That is very, very important, given, you know, the burst that can come out from LeBlanc or from the Gwen. And that is extra scaling on the magic damage shield. You have to consider that. Jin just gets boatloads of AD from additional sources, so that shield will be even stronger on a champion like Jin. It will make it pretty damn hard for Johnny G to get a solo kill on him at any stage of the fight. Even Shyvana has a Seeker's Arm Guard right now. Crypt Bloom also completed. The important items are starting to come in for 5 Freaks, and EGL. Can they get something back? Eldritch, though, he might just get caught by the hook. Oh no, Mikuskio does not quite land it. That could have been what stops the push, but now 5 Freaks can keep this going. They will continue to keep this cannon minion alive and just poke GGL down from afar. The hook does not land once again. Yeah, the threat of a Flame Breath is just too much. They have to respect it, and that does mean Eldritch is basically just keeping most of GGL back completely by himself, while his team is able to continue to push. Now it's 1 minute onto the dragon, and this is guaranteed to be the last dragon that spawns before Elder shows up. Will this be the deciding fight? GGEL, even if they wanted to respond to this with a side lane push, it's not really something they can do realistically. It would just take too long for Gwen to threaten the turrets. So I feel like at some point, Fonzie will just have to rotate back towards the fight. GGL already positioning themselves, trying to make picks happen, but Johnny G actually goes onto the Thresh! Really questionable decision-making right now from GGL as Fonzie teleports right into 5 Freaks. Their entire team, essentially, and has to make his... he has to run all the way out of there immediately. Now, Dragon form for Eldritch, but he gets hooked, though! The Arm Guard will buy time, however, and 5 Freaks are ready, in position to protect their jungler. The damage from the Hui is massive. He's finally scaled up, and 5 Freaks are getting the kills. They are pushing GGL back. Curtain Call from Autoplay. That gets another kill. They will get Ocean Soul. Can they finish off the game? Oswald will probably die from, to the Camille. It has to be a kill for 5 Freaks eventually. If it's not Camille that kills him, it will be the Jin. That's 4 members down. Toxic Coffee, the last one on the menu. That's everyone dead for GGL. 5 seconds still left on Johnny G's respawn timer, but it will not mean a thing. The Nexus is already there. 5 Freaks get the win.